Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt. Welcome back to Farlands or Bust. Here we are, woof, once again in the Farlands or Bust world in Minecraft Beta 1.7.3, continuing in a westward direction to the Farlands. Isn't that right, Wolfie? Woof, you are just a chatty Wolfie today, aren't you? Aren't you? Let's clean out our inventory here. Got some beds, we've got some boats, and we've got a wolf, and ourselves, and the west is the way we'll be going on Friday, February 27th, 2015, in episode 454 of the series. However, I must declare... Ooh, nice jumping attack into the water there, Wolfie. I must declare that I'm actually recording this a day earlier on Thursday, the 26th. Not a usual thing for me to do. I normally record my Farlands or Bustazes on the day they are to be released, which is often why they come out a little bit late in the day. So I'm trying this out. Also, more specifically, I don't know why, I had a wave of bummed outedness. A wave, a wash over me like a fog, a dewy morning fog. What? I'm getting too metaphorical here, but yeah, I just felt kind of like bleh. I didn't know what else to record. I was like behind on stuff, and I'm bleh, just bleh. So I'm like, you know what? I know what to do in Farlands or Bust. Recording vidges helps me feel a little bit better. So let's record some Farlands or Bust today, and maybe we'll actually get it published a little bit better schedule-wise on Friday. So I'm speaking to you from the past. Ooh, 24 hours ago. Yeah, I know, cow, it's spooky. But yeah, we're going to continue on here, and we are continuing raising money for Child's Play charity. Obviously, the numbers might not be 100% correct right now because we're recording a little bit early, but as of Thursday, we are up to $31,685.83 raised for Child's Play charity at farlandsorbust.com. It's our jingle. At farlandsorbust.com, helping get toys, books, and games to kids in hospitals around the world. And yeah, going on doing that. Obviously next month. Hey, this is probably the last episode of the month, isn't it? Next month. Technically February 6th, did I decide, or was it 9th? Whenever I get those letters, numbers, I think of it and then I try to remember it, but I get it upside down because the 6 looks like a 9 upside down, obviously. And 7, 8, 9. So I think it was the 6th. March 6th is the technical anniversary of starting the YouTube channel as a gaming channel here, my first episode of Minecraft Adventures, which later became this series, Farlands or Bust. So this series that continues is still the first series I ever did here on YouTube. It's crazy. It's craziness. And yeah, we're continuing on here, so I don't know if I have anything special planned, but I just thought that if I did, I probably should plan it sometime soon, since March is a few days away. So we'll see about that. Maybe that's why I was bummed out. I don't really have a plan. Do I look like a guy with a plan? I don't have a plan for that sort of stuff. I wanna turn things around, be on the up and up, and the outward and upward and forward and twirling, always twirling towards freedom. Simpsons reference. And yeah, we'll hopefully we'll figure something out. Obviously, if we don't reach $50,000 raised for Child's Play charity, which is our goal for this season 5, maybe I'll do some sort of we'll have to figure out what the date was of episode 11 when we actually started walking to the Farlands, and I don't know, maybe we'll do some sort of mini anniversary 4-year anniversary. I'm an old fogey on the YouTubes. Let's do some sort of mini anniversary live stream. Not a full-on Flobathon, but maybe I'll do like an hour in Farlands or Bust. It'll also be a nice little trial run for Flobathon when we do actually reach it, which I said it would even be appropriate if we had a Flobathon in June, because June was actually the month we started calling it Farlands or Bust and actually started raising money for Child's Play charity in June 2011. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that. We'll figure stuff out. Continue on, and we'll continue on here. The quest, Kurt's quest, separate from Ko's quest, but Kurt's quest for a new vehicular transport device. Didn't I say, like, 2013 was going to be new car year, and then 2014 was going to be new car year, and now we're well into 2015, still no new car year. But I did take some test drives. I took some test drives last week just to test things out, and I was very happy, A, that I was able to overcome such great and intense social anxiety to go out and actually do the test drives at our dealership, but I was happy to have found somebody who was not pushy, who was just... gave me an hour and to test out a few Subaru vehicles. Tried out the XV Crosstrek and the Outback. Really preferred the Outback for the ride quality. Obviously, it's got bigger wheels, better suspension, and just a bigger wheelbase, obviously, as well. So it just seemed a lot more confident on the road, whereas with the Crosstrek, as with many smaller cars, you got to constantly make little course corrections just to stay straight, or doesn't feel quite as confident. Felt good. It felt good. But I really like the Outback, but the Outback is a bit out back of my budgetary situation. So the XV Crosstrek felt okay, but I'm not making any decisions. It's kind of a weird time to buy a Subaru. To buy any car, really. They really say that in the summer and into the fall is the best time to buy a car, because that's when they have the next year's cars out. So they want to get rid of the last year's cars so you can get some good deals on the last year's cars. So, like, beginning of the year is a horrifying time, a terrible time to buy a new vehicle, because you do not have the upper hand, my friends. So I've got that working against me, except they do have some 2014 deals on 2014 XV Crosstreks. Although the 2014s have some negatives to them. Wolfie. There you are. All right. Whew. That was a dangerous cliff to be precariously perched upon. So they do have some 2014s, which I thought about. I'm like, I could get away with the 2014, but you never know. I don't want to rush to a decision simply because, there's only 12 more left on the lot or whatever. But yeah, it's kind of a weird time because actually the XV Crosstrek is going to be redesigned for 2016, I hear. And then the Impreza, upon which it's based, is actually going to start being built in the United States as opposed to Japan for the following year. I think 2 years, 2017, the 2017 model. Because they're revamping that whole plant or whatever, so then you wonder where they're going to build the XV Crosstrek, and the Outback is probably the more safer bet, as in that it's not going to be redesigned for another couple years. It's already assembled in America, and it's got a little bit more power, a little bit more room that I'm not exactly sure I would be able to take advantage of, so that's another. The Industrious Festivus for the rest of us. Studious? No, what's the word I'm looking for? Where you're thriftiness. The thrifty side of me wants to be like, well, I don't need this big a car, so maybe I should go for a smaller car or whatever. Wants to stay away from the Outback, but it rode very nice. It rode very nice. And then, of course, I also wonder, well, okay, maybe if I did have a nicer car like this, a more comfortable car, I would take longer road trips, as opposed to now, the cars I have owned, or if I owned a small car, I would be less likely to say, let's go on a long road trip because we own a small car. So it's but you should never make a purchase anticipating how you'll react or anticipating how you shouldn't buy a 5-bedroom house because, well, I could turn one into a studio, and I could take up pottery and turn that into a pottery room. And then I could, and then I'll adopt some children. Maybe, I don't know. That's not the way to make thrifty, budgetary conscious purchases about anything in life. Well, I should buy a 30 waist pair of jeans because I'm planning on losing weight. So, yeah. So yeah, I took some test drives. Long story short, the guy was very low pressure about it. He didn't like. Well, let's go in and look over some numbers. It's like, I'm still deciding well, this is really didn't help. I hoped I would go and test either the Crosstrek and the Outback and be like, hey, this is enough. I will now do this. Now I've become none the wiser about my situation. And of course, as every time I bring it up, let's make the hidey hole on this little tiny island. Every time I bring it up, oh, why don't you get, in the comments, why don't you get a Golf? Why don't you just get a WRX? Or, oh, if you want a hatchback, why don't you just get the Forester XL, or whatever the heck it's called, XT, that has the WRX engine? Blah, 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 blah. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Get a BMW, blah. I don't know. This isn't something I just make a decision on the whim, and I don't want to, I could be a Subaru dealer, simply based on the amount of research I've done about them, so I'm kind of probably locked into probably getting a Subaru next, but anyway, enough about that. Let's answer a bunch of questions here in this episode, because we have a bunch of questions left to get through that have piled up since we were going east and now turned back west. And let's do that in the morning. And test drive-ness. Remember the video game Test Drive? Test Drive 4 or 2? One of the Test Drive games was the first game, like I got my first PlayStation, the PlayStation 1, as a gift for Christmas, and they included Test Drive with it. It was like Test Drive 4 or 3, or it's one of those, in hindsight, not that great of a racing game. Of course, the next game I went out and bought was Tomb Raider, the original Tomb Raider, and that kind of became much more solidified as my first Sony PlayStation modern gaming console experience. But anyway, I digress. Let us get to these questions from Danny, Donor Danny. What did you wanted to be when you were a kid? It fluctuated from baseball player for the White Sox, the Chicago White Sox, because clearly, as a baseball player, you get to choose which team you get to play right off the bat. That's how it works. Baseball player, I'm sure I went through the fireman, policeman stage or something at some point. Trying to think. I don't know if I ever specifically went through like an astronaut stage or not. Strangely enough, I'm going through that right now. Like I've mentioned before, into middle school, high school, I kind of wanted to be a pilot or an Air Force pilot person or something with that, but that obviously never panned out. So yeah, kind of your typical not too non-crazy things. I was a very boring child. So we'll go with that. The teachers, even third grade, I remember my third grade teacher told me I should be a writer. So you're going to be a writer, an English major, right? Because we would write short stories, and I won prizes for a little third grade short story writing class or whatever. Like, no, I want to be a baseball player. Indeed. So, that's what I wanted to be when I was a kid. How was your college experience overall? Mediocre! I didn't do too... Well, I mean, I didn't do terribly. Except for the Spanish class. I did horribly. Estoy no bueno. That's not even right, is it? That's probably why I got a D. Twice. And, yeah, alright, I didn't, like I've mentioned many times before, I wish I had branched out. I kind of was very single-track mind. I wanted to get all the credits that I needed to graduate, to get the requirements, the prerequisites and requisites, and then just graduate and get out of there. I really should have maybe taken some time to explore and tried out things in different majors or different departments other than the art department I was in, and, overall positive-ish. I certainly was not any type of typical college party goer dude bro. So I didn't have that typical experience that is oft told in modern culture and pop media movies and whatnot. So yeah, I probably could have done better. I probably could have done better and taken advantage of it more, but I did not. And, I kind of wish... it might have been very different had the internet... I mean, the internet was around, the early 2000s or whatever, but it wasn't... it was like populated by... It was kind of pre and post the internet crash, when you're... like, what were all the sites that, like... were printing money and then suddenly all crashed. Like that pet site and other sites. Zombo.com. No, that place... Is that still around? That's gotta still be around. It's awesome. But yeah, perhaps if the internet, things like Wikipedia, the kind of rich media that we all take for... it's like 10 years ago that this has happened, and it's like completely different. It was there, and even then I was making websites and learning. That's where I learned first how to code for the web. Not anything I ever took a class in or majored in, but it ended up being my full-time job for 5 years after college, so that's a crazy thing. And that's another, what I did, maybe that's why I feel so weirdly about college, because what I did really didn't end up being very career helpful. Although now a little bit with I did take, digital video and audio, and so I have a little bit of an inclination there, but who's to say that wouldn't have come up naturally anyway. Who knows? So yeah, it was all right if I could give some advice for other collegiate individuals out there. I would say expand your horizons, man. Be free. No, don't be locked down just because you've chosen a major. Maybe choose a minor, or maybe just take some classes, even if the credits don't amount to anything towards what you're going for. Just take some classes of something you'd be interested in, or maybe something, who knows, something with friends, and then after that you'll end up, I don't know, starting a business together with those friends because you both had the same interest and learned about and wanted to expand upon. Who knows? And I suppose that's kind of a fault of at least the American college system, is it's always about credits add up, resume building, this, that, to get a job, to become employed. There really isn't too much out there to become, say, self-employed, or to create your own job, as I and some YouTubers here. I suppose one aspect of it, and there's other aspects of it, say, become... like, say for the game development scheme, it would be like if you went to a standard American college, you would be trained to be employed by, is that Wolfie? Oh. To be employed by a game developer and be, game coder number 27, as opposed to they really wouldn't teach you to be an independent game developer and build the game you want to, like, say, Notch, or something like that. So, yeah, if that analogy made any sense, which, running it through my head, it probably didn't. That's kind of how I felt about college, but it's partly... Whoa, the heck was that? Did I just, like, glitch through a block? I do. That was weird. It's partly, you get what you put into it sort of situation, but also the infrastructure isn't quite there, or what you would wish it would be. But, yeah, thank you so much for that question. Let's get to it. We got, like, so many questions to get through. Thank you, Danny. But now, from Petey, what is your favorite prank you have played or have seen others play? If you do get to go to Minecon, iffy, would you consider playing a prank on your fellow Mindcrackers? And would you enjoy it if any of them played a prank on you? I liked, on the Mindcrack server, that whole prank situation thing. Those are the types of pranks, quote-unquote, I can get behind. Real-life pranks? Probably not. I do not like being tricked. I do not like being surprised or put in a scenario where I could be made fun of, perhaps. I experienced too much of that, speaking of school, through the elementary, middle, and high schools. So yeah, I mean, even if you look at, like, like the Jackass movies or shows or something like that kind of prank, quote-unquote, gotcha, you have a face full of talcum powder now or something. Funny, yeah, but I'm that certainly takes a level of social aptitude that I don't have, and camaraderie that I don't think we would really be comfortable with. Maybe some of them might know each other much better than I do, but no, I'm not much for the practical jokes and the looks like a spaceship that landed, and the pranks and whatnot. So probably no pranks for old KurtJMac. I do appreciate. I opt out of all real life pranks from here on out, please. I do wish to be respected upon my choices. Let's see here. From an anonymous donor. No namer. Do you prefer day hikes or longer backpack hiking, camping hikes? If you could hike anywhere, where would you like to go? If you could bring anyone with you, or would you bring anyone with you? Yeah, probably hiking by myself. As much as I do like going for a walk by myself or a hike, short thing by myself to kind of explore and whatnot. But, generally it's better with somebody, because if you fall into a crevasse, then you aren't alone. You either aren't alone in that crevasse, or the person who didn't fall in the crevasse will go and get some help. So there's that. Probably the day hikes. I've always wanted and considered the possibility of what it would be like to do like a camping multi-day hike. And like I said, if I ever do find a way to get back to the Grand Canyon, it would be cool to do the hike to the bottom, spend the night there, and then hike back up. That would be interesting. Maybe not so much camping. There is a lodge down there with like almost like a hostel type, bunk beds type situation. It's not a hotel or anything, I don't think, but that would be a destination to head towards. Where would I like to hike? I mean, Alaska seems really cool, obviously. Iceland, there's a lot of cool stuff in Iceland. That seems nice. But also, you got your Yellowstone parks. I'm surprised. I'm not much of an ocean person, but I'm surprised how much I liked the... Oh, hey, guy. All right, we've lingered far too long, apparently. Huh. Hello. Oh, you're gonna make your way up here. No, careful, Wolfie. All right, let's, All right, well, we're going to protect ourselves from that, hopefully. All right. Don't spawn up here, Wolfie. Oh, God, he's gonna spawn up here, isn't he? Don't spawn up here, Wolfie. Okay, he's not. Let's get the bed down, let's go to sleep, and then we'll take care of this creeper situation in the morning. In the morning! And a creeper situation-ness. Is he still down there? Yes, he is. Shall we just jump into the water here? Alley-oop! Ow! That was not deep enough. Alright, we've avoided the creeper. What was I saying? Oh, I'm surprised. I'm not an ocean person, but I'm surprised how much I like the west coast of Oregon, Portland, and whatnot, and out there along the west coast, the rocky coast. That was really cool. So more of that would be neat. Neat! So yeah, I don't think I really have like one particular... obviously, the Lord of the Rings movies were quite good tourism brochures for New Zealand, so maybe New Zealand. But then again, it seems very similar, but opposite hemisphere, obviously, to Iceland. Just the sort of wildernessy stuff. I enjoy hiking on, pre-made paths and state and national parks and things like that, but I've always wanted to maybe, and perhaps this is where camping overnight would come into play, is like actually hiking and exploring like places where there aren't paths to like make your own way and stuff like that. And perhaps there are small tours or situations where the mildly inexperienced could participate in such things as these. Who knows? Much like here in Minecraft, there are no paths. There are no paths in our way. We make our own path. Forward and backwards, and now forward again, west to the far lands. See how that all nicely tied in there, like a gift with a bow on top. Whoa! Ooh, spooky noises. from Katie. Oh, hey, this is also a nice tie-in here. I know you enjoy, I pronounce it that way, the strange and wondrous sights generated in the Minecraft world, but have you ever traveled anywhere that had views that took your breath away? If not, I don't know why she asked that like an evil villain. That took your breath away? If not, where are some places you've traveled and or want to travel? Certainly, like I mentioned, the Grand Canyon. If you have not been to the Grand Canyon, and I know you probably hear this a lot, or have never heard it before, if you don't know anybody who's been to the Grand Canyon, like that's like, bleh. Like, how is this a thing I'm looking at? It's like, is that a picture? What's going on? So, yeah, the Grand Canyon is certainly taking of the breath away. And again, I've mentioned before, White Sands in New Mexico. That's just an alien planet that you feel like you're on. And also, that's a place where there aren't any paths because the sands are constantly shifting. They can't make paths. There's just little stakes in the ground that say, here's a path. Don't lose it because you'll die. So that's kind of one of the reasons I really like that. And also every time I mention this, I have to talk about it. But the way the sands are, the geology of it, or whatever, there's no echoes. It's like a perfect outdoor recording studio. Like, you can be like, hello, and you can't even hear your own self talk because the sand absorbs all the sound and the reverbs and whatnot. Conversely, you can also like hold a conversation like 100 yards away with somebody on top of another sand dune, just because there's nothing interfering with the sound carrying that far. So that's kind of another reason why it makes it kind of an alien landscape, is it's also these white, stark white sands surrounded by like mountains, and you really see no civilization, except for the little stakes in the ground telling you where the path is. So that was pretty cool. That's pretty cool indeed. Yeah, I mean, went to Colorado before and went up to the top of Pikes Peak. Being on top of a mountain is kind of an alien experience, I suppose, a little bit. It takes your breath away because there's literally no oxygen up there, but it might be something different. So yeah, I think I kind of answered both of these questions, encapsulated in the same sort of answers, but yeah. Those places. I kind of do want to go to, in California, the big trees. The redwoods? No, they're like called something specific, are they not? Yeah, the redwoods. Yeah, the big redwood forests where like the trees are like the size of houses, like huge. That, and you like drive under them because they've had to cut a hole in the tree because the road needs to go through it. That would be kind of a cool alien weird thing to see, I suppose. Also a volcano, like an active volcano. Like I said, if I was going to go to Hawaii, I'd want to go to do the sort of not the touristy things or the beachy things, but the astronomical and geological stuff, like to see active liquid hot magma from a safe distance, but that's something I don't feel, hopefully, everybody, not everybody gets to see. It's kind of a unique experience to see the earth from within. Woof. Wolfie knows. Wolfie knows the world and the earth from within. Let's see here. When I first started playing Minecraft, I was afraid of the squids because I didn't know they were hostile, if they were hostile or not. When you first started playing Minecraft, did you have such silly misconceptions about the game, or were you already an expert from watching Let's Plays? Well, the only Let's Play I watched before I actually started playing was David R. X's Adventures in Minecraft. And I watched up to a point where he kind of reached the end of that, what I would call his first season of his series, where he went off on a boat and kind of left his home behind. And he didn't know much at all. And I remember, like, the last thing he did was he found a dungeon. And, like, there were, like, 30-some-odd episodes in this series, and he'd never found a dungeon. And it was, like, a huge deal to have found a dungeon. It was like, oh, awesome! So that's as far as I watched. And there really weren't that many other long series, certainly not by any like experts or redstone masters of the world or anything like that knew everything about the game. So yeah, I think I had some certainly misconceptions or unknowns. A lot to do. I was playing right around the time they added the Nether, so a lot to do with the Nether. Obviously, it was kind of a weird place to be, especially when the pigmen automatically started attacking you, regardless, once you entered the Nether. That was fun times, fun times! You missed out on all that, kids. So yeah, it is kind of one of those things that I miss about the early game. I remember like this music playing, you know, and it being kind of a very solitary game to be playing before there was multiplayer or anything, or even I don't even feel like I'm playing by myself now, even though I obviously am, but because I'm talking to all the fine Farlanders of the world. Y'all are fine. Fine. So, yeah, there's kind of that lost nostalgia. I mean, even when there were quasi-weekly updates from just Notch himself, but he didn't tell you what they were, so people had to, like, figure them out on themselves. That was kind of a cool mystery to enjoy. Was the Nether one of those? I feel like the Nether might have been one of those, where he's like, there's a new dimension, but I'm not going to tell you how to get there. So that was, you know, that's all very cool and stuff. So yeah, there was kind of a, from that first time you load up Minecraft and you just start playing for the first time. I don't know how many people still have that experience, simply because perhaps they're playing for the first time on a console and not the PC version, or on a tablet or a phone or something. I envy those who are able to walk into this world with eyes. I hope they have eyes. I don't know, there might be a sonar version of the game with eyes. With fresh eyes and kind of unknowing. There's fear, there's kind of the exploration and tactics of it, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a little bit of nostalgia just playing in this series because we're playing in the beta version, so there's not any of the crazy new wacky stuff that we've all come to really kind of expect. Where it's like, oh, another temple. Okay, another temple. I guess we'll see what's in the chests, or people just ignore the chests altogether because they can get better stuff later, you know. So yeah, there's certainly that, and I suppose a lot of games sort of have it. You know, it was kind of a little bit. There's a little bit of that in Grow Home, the game that I'm playing simultaneously here. Grow Home. It's not as quite an expansive world or huge world, but there are some moments coming up. Stay tuned. In my Grow Home series where I'm like, I just found a thing I didn't know existed and nobody ever told me existed, and this is pretty cool. And trying to figure out the controls and, oh, what am I going to get next when I unlock this thing? So, you know, some video games still have that aspect to them, and it's a welcome experience. Even with I do remember the original feeling of the original Tomb Raider and literally getting scared by a wolf, ironically enough. I have strange relationships with wolves in video games. In the first level of Tomb Raider, my little sister was watching, also ironically, I was like doing a Let's Play there, but live. Was watching me play the first Tomb Raider. In the first level, or the second level of the first world, a wolf jumps out of the corner at you, and I like literally got scared and dropped the controller. I'm like, ah! So, yeah, there's some of those things that are missed to the sands of time in video game history. I'm gonna try to get to this little outcrop here, and then we'll build the end of the episode hidey hole. It is the end of the episode, right? Yeah. The end of the episode hidey hole here. I'm all thrown off because I'm recording this on a Thursday, but it's coming out on a Friday. Crazy. Bah, I know. It's totally crazy, Mr. Sheepman. Sheepman, you're a man and a sheep. Oh, that's problems. That is major problems. Oh, that's also problems. Hello. This is turning into some more serious problems. Hey, guy. Have a seat. Sure, right there. Yeah, I'm gonna give you some space to breathe. Let's actually build up the hidey hole, why don't we? No, I hear footsteps. So many scary footsteps. Stop with the footsteps. Stop. Alright, this is bizarre, what I'm doing here. Alright, let's go. Yeah. Okay. Alright, so we're safe-ish. We're safe-ish. And what happened to my shovel? All right. Alright, so now we just need to remove a layer here, so let's plunk down the crafting table and make a new pickaxe. Pickaxe! Oh, let's also make an axe while we're at it, I guess. Boop. Blop. Very nice. Spared no expense, using all the iron that we have. Alright, kind of a weird hidey hole, but a good hidey hole. It's a good hidey hole. For the end of episode 454 of Farland's Bust. Let's make the bed. Oh, speaking of which, I don't think I made my bed this morning. Oh, such a slob. Such a lazy, lazy slob. Let's do this. Do we have room for a boat? You know what, let's... Instead of just carrying around all this rotten wheat, let's gain back that heart that we lost over the last few episodes. Probably have room for a boat. I need some wood for the next episode. I'm becoming over-encumbered. Over-encumbered indeed. I'm also over-encumbered with questions, so I'll certainly get to those next time. Try to get more rapid fire through those. Although I will spend due time on each and every one of them, because I do appreciate your donations, and you can continue donating, at farlandsabust.com to Child's Play charity, helping get toys, books, games to kids in hospitals around the world. And you can leave a question with your donation, and I will, like I said, add it to the list and attempt to get to it in a future episode of Farland's Bust. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody have a good weekend. My name is Kurt. I will see you next time. Estoy no bueno.